Just let us know when we start.
You're good.
Thank you. All right, it's good coming off a win from last week, first conference win. A little bit about that. I thought we made a lot of baby steps, not a lot of big steps in some areas. I thought our offensive line played much better than what we played. It all starts there on the offense, and our running game was much improved. We're more physical at the point of attack. We stayed on our blocks longer. Running backs, obviously, if they get some room to run, then they have a chance to have some success. Made a few changes in the running game from 2 weeks before during the open date. I thought that helped us getting the ball outside a little bit more. The big thing probably was our receivers catching the ball. We made some big plays, something that we haven't had throughout the year consistently. Gil Lewis played an excellent game. He showed up really for the first time the way we thought he would. He's been off and on. He's got to be more consistent. He's a big play guy for us. Learn to play fast. He's learning to play fast a little bit more and more each game. So those are the kind of baby steps we're taking. Gunner played a good game, not a great game. He missed some passes early that guys were open, possibly for some points. Threw the ball off his back foot, and those all are correctable. I thought that he was really into the game. Mindset was good. I thought it was a spark, as I said after the game, that we probably needed. Everybody looks up to Gunner, and him stepping in there and having that success hopefully will even continue to make us better and better. Defensive side of the ball, creating turnovers, something that our offense didn't do, which is good. But we created turnovers on defense. Our defensive backs continue to get better. Our pass rush is better. That's a hard football team to defend in what all they do. We forced them to run the ball in some situations, and we gave up quite a few running yards, but that was by design of taking the ball out of the receivers' hands. They're better players, and running the ball, taking more time off the clock, giving us a chance to be pretty even with time of possession. If you give them 10 minutes more of time of possession in a game, then you're going to have a tough time keeping them out of the end zone more than you are. So I thought it was an excellent game plan. Our guys played hard. We tackled better than we have in some spread teams. We defended number 7 the second half much better than we did the first half. We forced him to throw the ball 81. He made some plays, but again, it was a good game plan all around, executed well, and our kicking game looked much improved. We forced them to have much more grass to cover on offense. It looked like us playing offense, getting the ball inside the 10-yard line 2 or 3 times. And so the field position was one, which is awful big for an offense that continues to try to improve each week. So overall, it's a good win for us. Now, playing this game coming up against Temple, a little bit different team. They do run spread, but they're also a physical team. They go 2 tight ends, 2 backs running at you. Looks more like a pro team. This is a little bit different, maybe a little bit more like Purdue, going back to them. Not as much 2-back, but big, physical. Like to run the ball. Quarterback is back for his 10th year. Seems like he's been there forever. And he wins with his feet. His arm is much better. He's got good receivers to throw down the field to. He's probably completed more deep balls this year than any team that we played. So it's going to be a challenge for our defense to defend a running and a passing team. They're pretty much balanced, and so you can't just zero in on one thing or the other. Their running backs might be the best group that we've seen. Very tough to tackle in the open field, make a lot of plays. They gave us problems last year here in our first conference loss of the year here at Nipper Stadium. Defensively, they're sound, solid, don't do a lot. They try to beat you with technique. That's a lot of what we try to do. They had a few that graduated from last year off that great defense that they had, but you can tell they've gotten better each game. They've been in every game that they played, all the way down to the end. They just got outscored, turned the ball over a little bit. So this will be a tough challenge. We're looking forward to it, going back to Philadelphia. We had a good game there 2 years ago. Played hard, looked like we're going to have good weather. What we need to do this week is continue to get better. We're starting to get beat up a little bit. Not losing players, but it's the time of the year, backups are going to have to start playing some, just because some of the other guys get beat up, they can't play as many reps. And so on both sides of the ball, we're going to have to continue to sub, rest guys. We got a 5-game stretch here now that's going to be pretty tough going through this, but that's what it's all about. We got our open date. Our training room's been filled up this week after the first contact in a couple of weeks. But these guys, the health is good because the enthusiasm is good, the emotion is good. Guys are looking forward to getting back out and playing again. And so we'll play at 3:30 Saturday afternoon and see if we can take another step forward. Questions?
How much, Coach, do you think the enthusiasm comes from just the way the team responded and the spark you mentioned that Gunner brought to the team?
Well, I think that had something to do with it, but I think it more had to do with Gunner making the plays down the field. We're making big plays, and if you go back and look at a couple of games that we lost, we couldn't make a big play. Receivers were dropping the ball, and I think that Gunner's a good leader. He'll go around and he'll talk to them. And that's the deal about younger quarterbacks, is being able to sit down and, hey, you need to do this a little bit better. Receiver, you need to, count on me doing this if I do this. So the experience probably played out a little bit with Gunner with the younger receivers. I thought he actually played better with the timing and rhythm of the receivers than he would, just the first game of being back. But again, early it looked a little rusty. He overthrew one out of bounds, and we had a guy wide open down the field. But again, he got a little bit hurried with it. But that'll come better with him, just kind of settling down, understanding. Again, all these guys are new except for Nate Cole that he threw to last year. So it'll hopefully continue to get better as we go. But it was a great start. And again, I was proud of Gunner, as much as how he handled the first part of the year as he handled that one. But again, the other two quarterbacks were very supportive. And it's a good thing to have 3 guys that you are friends, and they're going to compete each week, and they're pulling for each other, whoever's on the field.
What makes Jahad Thomas so effective? He really did a number on you guys last year.
Who's that?
Temple running back Thomas.
Oh, he's quick. He's number 5, kind of a lot like Mike Boone. Very elusive in open field. They do a lot getting the ball in screen passes, swing passes. They run a lot of power plays, lead plays. They have a lead blocker in a lot of things that they do. But he's just a natural athlete. Very, very elusive, quick feet. You can tell he can really see the field. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was the guy that ran the kickoff back on us last year. This just came to mind, but he's a heck of a football player. He's one of the better ones in our league, and he makes a lot of people miss. Everybody that they played this year have probably had more missed tackles, tackling him than anybody that they played.
Will Gunner start this week?
Yeah, he's number 1. Again, we'll go through the next 3 days. I want them to all compete. I want them to practice. Gunner, the starter, gets more reps with ones, and he obviously earned that opportunity in case he comes out this week and just has a bad week. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I want the pressure to stay on all 3 of them, on to compete. I think the other 2 understand that, hey, here's a guy that came in there 1 game, and I think we had more total yards in that game, right, guys? Any game that we've had. Made big plays. Could have had more. Didn't turn the ball over. That's why I'm excited. Now, he did throw that 1 ball. Shouldn't have thrown it, but he did. Luckily, they had a pass interference on it. It was called back. So those are the things that we can't do. You got to be stingy with the ball. Live to punt. And again, we continue to get 2, 3, 4 turnovers on defense. We'll have a good chance.
Eric Wilson is leading the league in tackles, and he's 4th in the nation. What has he meant to your defense this year?
Well, just from a guy that played outside linebacker through 2 games and then had to move to inside linebacker, just totally changed his mindset. He can play both. That's going to help him. People looking at him for the next level. He's smart. He's very smart, and he understands football. He's the type of middle linebacker that you like. He gets people lined up. He does more things than you ever notice of trying to get. For instance, last week we lost our weak side backer because of targeting, and he's got a young kid coming in. A few months ago was in Birmingham, Alabama, had no clue about college football. But he spent the second half trying to get him lined up and him playing his position. But Eric's a good tackler. At times he gets a little bit out of control, as all of them do in this spread offense when you're playing, running backs in open field and wide receivers, but he's a natural linebacker, and they're hard to find. We're glad that he's been with us the last few years. I didn't realize he'd made that many tackles, but when he's in the game, he settles our whole defense down. Everybody's kind of settled down. He gets people lined up. Him and Zach Edwards, together really give a 1-2 punch for leadership on defense. Plus, 2 quarterbacks out there settling people down after big plays and getting them in the right spots and getting them to play their technique.
How did he end up here after the transfer from Northwestern?
He decided he wanted to transfer. A lot of these kids nowadays, actually the first year, they look at the position that they want to play or the line that they're in terms of getting in the game. He called us. I talked to Coach from Northwestern, and very high on him. Every time I see him, I've been on a committee with him for the last 3 years in the American Football Coaches Association. That's the first thing I always ask: how's Eric doing? I said, well, he's going to be all conference. I knew that. One of those things. So they knew he was going to be a good football player. We're fortunate to have him, and again, he's been a breath of fresh air, because when we got him, we had very few younger linebackers coming up. Most had transferred after we got here, so we didn't have a lot of linebackers, and so it's been fun to watch him grow and get better and better.
But he initiated contact with you?
Yeah, and you have to do that. I can remember it was our first year here, and I think we were maybe halfway through the season, and we got a call, that he was getting his release, and so if I get it right, I think he was here our first spring, after our first season. So he had to sit out of here, obviously.
What would you like to see out of these last 5 games now?
I keep getting better on both sides. I think we're in a good position to our guys are understanding that you can't play without emotion and enthusiasm, but you also can't turn the ball over. That's the biggest thing that happened to us in Houston, and the one huge turnover in the game, and of course the second half of the South Florida games. It didn't make any difference how the special teams play or the defense plays. We can't, just give points away. We can't give the ball away. We can't give it away in the end of the field. We've got a good punter. We've got a solid kicking game. Our defense is better. We need to live, and I've told them, we've got to live off our defense. The way we're playing, we're not just a shutdown defense, but we're an opportunistic defense that creates turnovers, makes big plays. We're pretty consistent, and so I want our offense to continue to learn that, understand that, to help them out. Obviously running the football helped the other day. You can't run it for 2 yards in a game and expect to win. That doesn't happen. You look at the Texas Tech Oklahoma game; they had almost 2,000 yards in total offense. And all those points because neither football team ran the football. It's pass after pass. We want to be balanced, and I think our offensive personnel are starting to understand a little bit more about Zach Taylor's offensive philosophy and how we do it, what we want to do. He can lean on their defense, and he knows that he can lean on the defense a little bit more. We didn't know how we'd be on defense starting the year, but we know now we're much better. Even we're not a shutdown type of defense, but we also we can win games on defense if you give us a chance. We'll get the ball back before you give you good field position. So that's a big thing. Just keep learning how to play football. A lot of the younger guys are getting better. We'll play more younger guys this week, probably next week, as we start to continue to have minor injuries and keep trying to build.
Because we talked about motivation last week for the football team in the final half of the season. Do you think it helps psychologically when they look at the standings, they see Temple's the first place team? When you think that gets guys up?
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
It's, of course, last year we played them early in the season. This year we're playing them more in the mid to second half. Didn't really know, the situation. We knew Temple was going to have a chance to have a good football team. We didn't really realize how good, and we just, I can remember we turned over the ball so many times that it just makes you sick, and we didn't give ourselves a chance to win. Every team in our conference has a chance to beat you this year. There's not a team in the league that can't beat the other one. There's nobody that's just sacked their bats. Everybody's trying to get better, trying to improve. Temple is a team that, you know, they let one get away at Memphis when they played them. But, you know, they're like us too. They've got a lot of hard games left. So we won't just go play well on the road. We still have a little bit of remembrance of going north and playing 3 weeks ago against Connecticut. Didn't play well at all. And, you know, we just got to learn to play again on the road. You know, playing a good team, top-ranked team in our conference on the road is going to be a challenge. But, you know, you got to do it every other year. You got to go their places. So we'll go see what happens.
You surprised to see what's happened to Houston the last few weeks?
No, it been happening in any league. You look at all the teams across the country getting, you know, Stanford, you know, they were a top 5 team. It's just, you know, you get 1 or 2 key injuries, everything starts coming down. They've had a few injuries on defense, which was the strong part of their team, that and their quarterback. And it just, one little wrinkle can make it start unfolding a little bit, and you start doubting and start losing your confidence. Anything can happen. But, you know, again, there's not a lot of difference from top to bottom in our conference. You know, we played, you know, with 8 minutes to go. We thought we had a good shot against Houston, but we caught them early in the year, and you know, they were a little bit healthier than they are now. But that's football. I've had some seasons before I never had a player miss a practice, and when you have that, you got a chance to win a lot of games. You got to be lucky, a lot of luck involved. And you know, look at all the teams this year that were ranked in the top 10 before we started, and they're not even in the top 50 as we speak. It's just part of the game. What makes it fun?
Is it good for the league that they've fallen, and it shows that more balance, or bad for the league because you don't have a marquee team?
Yeah, I think it, well, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you got to play and you got to win. A little bit surprised in that score. You know, SMU's obviously gotten much better, but you know, I got a chance to listen to Tom before my phone press conference on Monday. Just listen to him. I hadn't seen the game, didn't get to see it. Just him talking about, you know, they gave up 7 sacks. You know, just didn't play well. I mean, that happens. You know, sometimes you cannot keep your intensity up every week. You know, sooner or later you got to win on talent, and just guys going out and persevering. You're gonna have games like that. If you're gonna have a great season, you're able to work through those 2 or 3 games, and but it'll catch up with you. It's just hard to keep that going unless you're just as dominating as an Alabama team. Look at Ohio State. You know they best recruiting classes every year, and they're playing a team that's basically struggling, and they lose. I mean, it's just 1 or 2 things happen on the road. It's tough to overcome it.